And we are here. How we doing, guys?
We could be better, to be honest with you, Barry.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Well, our behind the scenes and football brains, Mike Poland and Paul Stewart from across the pond, and bring some of their expertise and their observations from the monster game the other night, and uh, and then our special guest, he should be logging in any minute. So I had to put up our little wish you were here kind of sign because one of the guys that did have a good game was Rico Dowdle, and so when you hang around us, good things happen. He was at our event last weekend,
Yeah.
last Saturday before the game, anyway. But
You inspired him then. You inspired
yes,
him,
sir,
Barry.
yes, sir. That's good things happen when they hang around us at the event. So, so yeah, we had a good line, good time. But we'll come
Who'd you
back to
have?
that and talk about this weekend as well. So, um, but anyway, it's I thought well, we're going to bring, of course, Isaiah on, and kind of thought we'd start. I wanted to just ask him about his mindset and things like that. What he feels, as a player, as a former player, like what do they go through? What goes through your mind after being so great? So we'll come to that as well, and I guess we can give a shout out to some of the sponsors. Pacheco's Taco Bar for our event this weekend will be he's the official food provider of Cowboys Experience. Had some awesome tastings. Actually, the players all took some to go plates and loved it. Osadilla Tequila, produced here locally in Dallas. And then Hop and Sting Brewery over in beautiful Grapevine, Texas, which I talked to the owner yesterday, and informed him of all the big takeover invasion coming to the brewery from the UK, Germany, and Italy, and all the guys coming over. So that'd be the Friday after Thanksgiving. We can talk about that then as well. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, so yeah, it was a tough one, I guess. Huh? I mean, after everything's looking like, gosh, Super Bowl champs coming, here they are, and also boom, as Micah said, they got beat up a little bit and surprised and shocked and
Yeah, definitely. But if there's one person's opinion I would like to hear the most is our special guest, and he's actually right here, right now.
okay, super.
Here he is,
There he
Mr.
is.
Isaiah
There he is,
Stanback.
like
Here he
Well,
yeah.
is.
we'll give an introduction here to our special guest here,
Mr.
and
Grammy.
a former Dallas Cowboy player, a former Super Bowl champ, um, the current analyst, NFL analyst, and for the Cowboys, for the NFL Insider, co-owner of Steadfast Fitness and Performance, and just does an awesome job at everything. He's probably going to start teaching courses on time management because I don't know how he does it all.
Jeez.
Isaiah Stanback, our
Wow.
awesome friend. So
Hey, my wife will be on board for me trying to figure that one out too, man. How you guys doing, man?
all right, how you doing?
Well, we could be better. I mean, we're happy
Yeah.
that we're happy that we can actually move on from last week to next week. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Isaiah, I said earlier. I'll start just with one quick question, mainly about mindset. But I was posting because we had Rico Dowdle out last weekend, the Saturday before the game, and I said, look what happens when you hang out with us a little bit before your game. We bring you some good vibes and everything else.
Yeah.
So we were happy for him and to get his touchdown as well. But what is, I guess, what I ask you, because you're great on this too, being a former player. But like, what goes through their minds now, like this week of just looking at from the top of the mountain, it seemed like that nothing could go wrong, and now all of a sudden they come out like, whoa, what happened there? They try to forget about it, they move on. Like, how does that that mindset happen this week? So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the first thing that you have to do is you have to acknowledge the faults, right? You have to go back and you got to watch the film. That's number one. I know a lot of people think that, obviously when you have a showing that's less than less than what's desirable and less than what you're capable of, that you should just simply just throw it away and keep on pushing. That's not how you go about your business, right? The old saying is, you're bound to repeat history if you don't acknowledge it. So, um, the guys have to, first of all, watch that, take their grades, get their critiques, look at the good, look at the bad, and face it head on. And once you do that, then you work to ensure that those things don't happen again. And that's the thing about the NFL, man. Everybody's getting paid. Everybody's a professional. Everybody's one of the best in the world. You know, that's the reality. You know, there's 1,200 guys that are playing this game out of the however many hundreds of millions that wish they could.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
you're going to face really good competition. You're going to face coaches that have your number. There were some things that I presented on the Cowboys platform that leading up to that, where I told everybody I was probably one of very few people who said that Arizona was going to present some problems for Dallas. Now, did I predict that they were going to lose? Not even a little bit. But I did think that they were going to cause them some issues, especially in the first half, mainly because of their system and their scheme, not necessarily their personnel, but their system has given Dallas issues in the past. And that system was offensively. They run a very Philadelphia Eagle-ish offense in terms of, you think about Jalen Hurts and what he does in terms of the zone read, in terms of throwing on the go, and the misdirection, the motions, all those things have given Dallas defense of the most recent past, some issues. San Francisco does a lot of misdirection that gives them issues. It's been problematic for them. So those are things that you're going to look at and identify prior to the game and say, hey, this is something I need to put in more film study on. I need to be more disciplined. This is an area of concern for us because we fall victim to these types of teams. Defensively, offensively, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles defense in terms of what they did in terms of their schemes, hiding coverages. You know, you guys can go back to last year when Dak was struggling with trying to identify exactly what the coverages were. Well, a lot of that came at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles, if you guys remember. So who was the head coach for Arizona? Gannon, who happened to be the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles from last year. So there's a lot of similarities, a lot of things that really carry over. And so often everybody looks at just personnel, right? Because there's fantasy football and all kinds of bets and everything else. Everybody gets so caught up on the personnel side, and not enough is put on the genius of the strategy aspect of the game from these offensive and defensive coordinators.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny that you mentioned like fantasy. I think no one I know that we're talking Cowboys here, but I don't think anyone expected Miami to put 70 on Denver. My goodness.
I could.
That was personal. That was very personal. On a number of fronts, that was personal. So
I could have predicted A-Chain to do that.
I mean, that was personal for a number of reasons. You know, you think about Sean Payton when he retired to get out of a contract and became an analyst. You know, he did not speak highly of Tua at the quarterback position. He did not speak highly of McDaniels at the when he was a head coaching candidate. He didn't speak kindly of those two. So, you know, as we like to say, we keep receipts. As Deion Sanders likes to say, you know, you keep receipts and things like that. So now all of a sudden you're facing that position. So that was personally towards Sean Payton. Organizationally, McDaniels had a grudge against him because when he was a head coaching candidate and Denver was in need of a head coach, they were in search of a head coach, they wouldn't even give him an interview. Wow. So that was very personal in terms of that game, and he could have made it worse, but he backed down a little bit.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
I couldn't believe it really, because I remember just like watching the first quarter and stuff like that, because like through Red Zone and stuff like that, then I decided to watch the main game on our British broadcast and stuff like that. And next thing I know, I checked my fantasy football app and it's like Raheem Mostert. It's like 35 plus points. I was like, wait, hold on a minute. What the hell's going on? Then I tuned back on and it was like 56 to 17 or something at the time.
Yeah,
I can't remember, or 13. I was just like, what? Then it just bumped up to 70. Crazy.
We had a discussion on Talking Cowboys this morning that John Machota, he brought up a conversation about which team. It was a reference to going to the Super Bowl, but it kind of turned into which team do you feel is more dangerous, Miami, Philly, or San Francisco?
Oh,
and I think he threw Buffalo and Kansas City in there as well. And I told him, I said, for me, it's Miami. For me, if you take a fully healthy roster for all those teams, you know what San Fran's going to do. San Fran's going to, they are San Fran, okay? Philadelphia, both of those teams are going to beat the crap out of you in the trenches, and you got to find a way to stop it. The difference is, for me, Miami's offense is so explosive and they're so fast that you can't stop it. You can't stop all of it. You know what I mean? Like there's no scheming up speed. You can't do it. And Tua makes great decisions. He's smart. He has a cannon of an arm. And then you take the genius of McDaniels and company with that talent, and it's just like, what do you do against that?
Seems like Tyreek's on kind of a mission this year too.
Absolutely. He wants to hit 2,000 yards. And then you look at it on the flip side, who's not playing for them right now defensively? Ramsey.
Yeah, that's true.
People forget that they have Ramsey that just waiting to come off IR.
Totally forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, they're a problem. The only reason why they didn't make a run last year is because of Tua's concussion problems.
Yeah.
And I think out of all of them with San Fran, I'm still not sold on that quarterback yet. I still think,
I think he's a good quarterback. I do think he's a good quarterback. I wouldn't put him in the category of a Tua.
I think to me, I think Brock Purdy's more like he's steering the ship for San Francisco until they get someone better. If I'm being perfectly honest,
I just don't think they're a quarterback reliant team with the way that roster's built. It doesn't need a top quarterback to keep things in motion. Kind of like how Georgia was last year, getting to the 90 with Stetson Bennett.
You just need a bus driver.
Yeah, it is.
There we go. Yep. But back to talking about the Cowboys, you kind of mentioned like so where we struggle and like so how we struggle against Arizona. For me, like,
Paul, you look hurt, man. You look like you're hurt by this right now.
That's what I am.
I am.
Okay, we both say okay.
Yeah, because it seems to be like I'm going to use these references as a point here. So 2019 New York Jets when we lost to Sam Darnold. Then there was the 2020 game against the Cleveland Browns where they had the running back. He came off a fisherman's boat and actually killed us in the run game. Like I'm just like. It seems to be whenever we're so many we're very heavy favorites, like 75% favorites to win the game. Yeah. It seems like we just seem to have this approach, like it's going to be fine, like just from a fan's perspective.
Yeah, I mean,
I know what you're saying.
Part of that comes because of how much attention the Dallas Cowboys get. So when they're successful and they're dominant in their first two outings. Of course, they're gonna get all that gas and they're gonna listen to it, the noise. I mean, so I don't care if you block out the noise. The noise is like water. Some of it's gonna get through, you know. So that's part of it. But at the same time, everybody is acting as I know the Micah Parsons comments about playing down. Like I thought that was dumb because you can't play down to an opponent that you've never played. You don't know what they're capable of, and everybody's looking down upon the Arizona Cardinals. Again, one of the reasons why I wasn't, was not only because of the strategy, not only because of their coaches and some of the personnel that they have in place, but how many points did they lose by in their first two games collectively?
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
7 collectively. So it wasn't like these guys were not a non-competitive team. These guys had been competitive through the first 2 weeks against some good teams. So they were capable. And their quarterback still relatively new. Oh, and by the way, Joshua Dobbs, was on a roster for Tennessee Titans last year for 1 week, and he gave you problems. So you couldn't sleep on him. He's been in Arizona for a month. So he's had 4 times as much time than he did last time he played you, and he's familiar with you. He's not scared of you, right? Did you see his response to Micah Parsons?
Oh, there was like a TikTok like something to do with the merchandise or something like that, wasn't it? Like he's got
dodging balls or something.
So Micah Parsons does a stream for his video. He plays Madden and does a stream with fans, right? And I guess one of the comments that Micah Parsons made on his stream was that he was leading up to the game. He had mentioned that he was putting Joshua Dobbs on the bulletin board and he was going to be throwing darts at him, right? Pretty much, I'm going to be taking shots at him, whenever I can. So after the game, I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, Joshua Dobbs put up a TikTok video, I believe it was, somebody throwing darts at him, and he was dodging darts. And he said, "Whoo, that was close." He said, "Arizona." He said, "Go Cards."
At the same time, like fair play that you come back with a response, but at the same time, like it's just so cringe. You know,
The good news for Dobbs is that he doesn't have to worry about facing Micah again this year.
that's true.
I think what Dobbs does though is he shows, because I was just writing about it yesterday about and today about the issues with the Cowboys defense is that it's very noticeable now, even from last season, that a big problem this Cowboys defense has is facing scrambling and rushing quarterbacks. It's just
it's the RPO.
It's just I get it that all teams, no teams are infallible, that wherever there's a weakness, but it's just that this Cowboys weakness of being able to restrict rushing quarterbacks is a huge glaring hole.
The reason why, again, it comes down to scheme. Yes, the ability of the quarterback plays a part in it because you're not going to have that type of offense without that attribute at the quarterback position. However, the reason why that style of offense gives Dallas problems is because Dallas is known for being relentless and going 100 miles per hour balls to the wall, right? Mike Parsons comes up the ball, he's coming at you, he's going to hit you in the mouth. When you have that style of offense, now you have to stop and think.
Mm-hmm.
I have to stop and I have to make a decision. Am I going with the running back or am I going with the quarterback? Now I can't play with my hair on fire. I take that game. Also, I have more responsibilities. If he hands the ball off and he comes out on a naked bootleg, I need to make sure that if he decides to keep the ball, that I can still get to him. So I can't come down the line of scrimmage 100 miles per hour and go blow up the running back because he might be pulling it and keeping it, right? So it just adds a lot of other wrinkles that you don't have to face with other teams. So as you approach the game against New England doesn't propose those problems. New England lines up and runs and hits you in the mouth. One thing they do propose is they run a very intricate passing system.
I'm kind of glad you asked that because we've got a comment from Ash is actually asking the question, are the Patriots receivers a good litmus test for Bland on the outside?
I can tell you it's less to do with the personnel, more to do with Billy O'Brien. He's my former quarterback coach / offensive coordinator from my time in New England. And this is probably the most fiery, competitive coordinator that I played under.
Wow.
And he's a jerk in the nicest way you can say it, right? If there's a weakness and you show that you have a weakness, he is going to test the crap out of you. Yeah. He is going to come directly at Duran Bland, especially if he's not switching sides. If he knows what side he's on, he is going to make his life a living hell. And it is what it is. He's going to DB 26 is going to have plenty of opportunities to redeem himself from his underperforming show he put out there last week. And I know he's going to do everything he can to perform better. He's that type of guy. He's a good kid, good cornerback, good competitor. But he was on an island, and it looked like he was on Gilligan's Island by himself the other day. He was struggling on the outside. He looked like a fish out of water. He'll work to be better, but he will be tested. Billy O'Brien will test him out. Absolutely, he will.
Interesting. Just trying to think also as well, like I will say though, I will give the just kind of still reflecting back with the Cardinals, and we'll move on to the likes of the Patriots, but I will give the Cardinals credit. They came out firing in that game from the get-go. Like it seemed like they were like willing to prove all the critics wrong in that game, and they deserved the victory. We have to admit. They were like in all aspects of the game, offensively, defensively, and special teams. They were on par.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good team. Yeah. They're a good team. Do they have they don't have the personnel? They don't have the personnel Dallas has. Nowhere near it. Shouldn't even. When you look at it on paper, it shouldn't even be a competition. But you sit back and look at it. Their quarterback is respectable. The running back is a dog. He's been a dog, his entire career. Under-marketed dog, but he's an absolute beast, right? Nobody's going to say, no, I don't want James Conner on my team. Nobody, it's not going to happen. People take him in a heartbeat. You look on the outside, and they got probably, next to Miami, maybe the fastest receiving core in the league. I mean, these guys, they run across the board. So they have dudes. Zach Ertz is, still chugging along somehow, some way. He's not what he used to be, but they have resources, man. They got guys that can make plays, and they have good coaching. It's the first year underneath this coach. They're figuring things out, but they have a good foundation and they have good direction.
Yeah, it kind of feels like now after the game, it feels like it's kind of like, do they really deserve to be 0-2 before playing us? Because when obviously, like, some of the football they were playing were actually very complimentary towards their system and stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's why you don't look at that. Stats have a role, they have a place, but they don't tell the whole picture. They really don't tell the whole picture. I mean, if I would sit up here and tell you, hey, the Arizona Cardinals and the Cincinnati Bengals are both going to be 1-2, you look at me like I was crazy.
yeah.
But it is what it is. You got the Chargers are 0-3.
Oh no, they won against the Vikings.
Did they win against the Vikings? Who's 0-3?
Yeah, they came back at the very end.
So who did Cincinnati just play?
I will check for that for you right now. I say
whoever Cincinnati just beat, they're 0-3, and they're a good team.
Oh, that what's Minnesota? Is Minnesota 0-3?
Minnesota might be. Yeah, they are.
So is the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears and the Vikings and the Carolina Panthers. So we've got 4 teams that are winless right now.
Wow, that's wild.
Yep,
that's wild. I'm gonna get back to you guys. There we go. All right. Yeah, it's crazy, man. So I mean, it's the NFL, man. That's what's awesome about it, right? That's why you watch it. It's competitive. You got to change things up. You're about to play a New England team. I just talked about their offense a little bit. They use their tight ends like crazy. They have a 2-headed monster at tight end in Hunter Henry and Gesicki.
Oh,
they got They use them. Stevenson comes out the backfield. Stevenson right now on their team is 3rd in targets, 4th in yardage at receiving. So they mix him in there. We all know how deep their running back room always is. So yes, Zeke is there, but he's not the only man that will be used. Kendrick Bourne is a very smart receiver. He understands zones. I have a ton of film to watch tonight, so it's gonna be a late night for me. But he's very smart from what I have seen so far. He is he just does a great job. And
they got the rookie as well playing from the slot. He can be a sleeper if you don't pay attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have some dudes, and then on the defense side of the ball, we know they got some dogs over there.
A lot of power.
I do have an injury report regards to the New England Patriots as of right now. So currently just now, Cole Strange is questionable.
Yeah.
Sidi Gao is questionable. Both of them are guards. Daniel Ikali, he's on IR at the moment. Christian Barrymore, he's a defensive tackle. He's questionable.
That's a big one.
And cornerback Jonathan Jones is questionable.
Okay.
What about
Barmore is the big one from Alabama.
Yeah.
He's the.
Is there anybody from our team, Isaiah, that you think is concerned? I'm not sure what's up with Tyler Biadasz, but
I'm concerned about Tyler Biadasz. They brought in a center on practice squad today.
So they did that today, yeah.
I will say though, I thought all things considered, him and TJ Bash actually did a respectable job. Yeah. All things considering, like. People kind of like give them like, it's like, they're not Biadasz, they're not Zach Martin, but I think all things considered, their pass protection was actually pretty good. Even though Dak did get sacked, but a lot of the blame could be put on maybe Hendershot in one of those plays.
Udoka had a rough night. I mean, he had a rough night.
Yeah. One to forget, so to say.
Yeah, I mean, but to your point, Hoffman did a good job. He definitely stepped up for sure. I did not expect him to step up in that role and be able to be as productive as he was. But you're still missing, and I mentioned this on the fan the other day, that you're missing your top 5 guys. You need you've never had this starting 5 has never played a game together.
Yeah.
Ever.
No.
So in terms of what is this offense capable of, you don't know what this offense is capable of. And we know that Dak needs the run. Well, guess what? Even though you're running and Tony Pollard's getting his touches, Rico Dowdle's doing his thing, you still don't know how effective you could be on the ground game, which means that you don't know how effective you could be with Dak in passing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of the Cowboys injury report, this is now according to ESPN. So Tyron Smith is still questionable. Biadasz is questionable. Zach Martin questionable. Now we've got Chuma Adoga questionable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
That's not good.
it's not looking good. And the thing is, though, we only literally have Asim Richards, TJ Bass,
Mhm.
sorry, and Brock Hoffman as our backups. So we might need to start outsourcing for other players at some point, perhaps.
Question
This-
for you though, right, Isaiah? When I seen the starting lineup on the offensive line, is keeping Tyler a guard rather than putting him to tackle with a Doga?
Yeah.
Was that more of trying to create Tyler Biadasz to stay in one position now rather than flexing him in and out all the time for
you
his
don't want
development?
you don't want to be moving Tyler Smith around.
Yeah.
You don't want to move him around. You want him to be able to play one position, man. And you asked above and beyond his Call of Duty last year, and he answered the call. You know, it would be unfair to ask him to continue to do that because you failed to bring in more guys. It's just, yeah.
So that is what that was. Because when I seen it, that's what I thought.
Yeah, when do you think they make that permanent change to move Smith back over to tackle for good for the rest of the next 6, 8, 7, 9 years, whatever, you know?
When Tyron is either hangs it up or has unfortunate something happens to him that he's done. That at that point, that decision will be made.
Interesting. Trying to think what else. So I've also got the matchup predictor here as well. So currently, just now, Dallas are 68.6% favorites to 31.2% for the Patriots right now. Reading out the stats just now, Mac Jones is 748 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. To Dak, he's 647 to 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Stevenson, the running back, 46 carries for 134 yards with 1 touchdown. And Tony Pollard is 62 carries, 264 yards with 2 touchdowns. And in terms of leading receivers, it's Bourne with 14 receptions, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 19 receptions and only 273 yards. The point I was going to make about this, are we concerned about our wide receivers not putting points on the board because we have none at all right now? It's now week 3. Sorry, going into week 4.
It's less about your receivers, more about how they're being utilized. I actually plan to break that down this week on film for the Cowboys on their platform. I do a segment every week called Film Room for them where I break down some film and things to kind of look out for. But I think on this week's episode of Special Edition, I'll be breaking down as to what is happening right now, at least in regards to Brandon Cooks. And yeah, they're not being utilized the way in which he's not being utilized the way in which he could. CeeDee Lamb's not having an issue. When you get down into the red zone, it just comes down to scheme. It's coming down to execution. The play that McCarthy drew up, that Dak threw an interception on, great play call, perfect defense. He guessed right. Execution didn't happen right. Route wasn't great. Ball was not great at all. It's a turnover. So
yeah, Michael Gallup come out. Now it's like, okay, where's Brandon at now?
Michael Gallup. They, they figured out. Everybody asked me what my take was on Michael Gallup all through camp, and I'm not a believer, to be honest with you. I just don't. I like him a lot. I like him as a human a lot. I like him as a player a lot, but I don't think he's what he was. I really think that knee injury messed him up, whether it be physically or mentally. He's not what he was. He does not have the agility to come out of those breaks the way he once did. So the thing that he's still able to do, he can still run a slant. He can still run a fade, run a go route. Those are things that I think he does well. And you go back and look at all his routes. What did he run? You're going to go. You're going to slant. Right? He's going to make a good contested catch. So he still possesses those abilities. But to ask him to run a comeback or two, an in and out type route or out and in type route, where he has to be super agile and really shut down his speed and accelerate again. I don't think he's the guy anymore for that.
Yeah, the type of route is going to wear and tear your actual ankles and your knees, pretty much, really.
Yeah, I mean, injuries suck, right?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Injuries suck.
But the bit I don't get, right, and I'm still trying to rack my brain. I've got a few questions on this, right, Isaiah? I find it confusing that they're doing this West Coast offense, and you're seeing schematically down the field a lot of slants, a lot of quick passing. Like Dak's getting that ball out quick, and his ADOT, I think, is only just over 5 yards per attempt. Right? It's not that high at all.
Nope.
But what I don't get is, why can they not do that in the red zone? That's exactly how you attack the red zone. When it's a condensed field, why are they not doing that there?
It's a lot less room. A lot less room. I mean, things happen super fast in the red zone.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 22 guys, in that
floating
space.
around in a small box.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. Windows are a lot smaller. Decisions have to be made a lot quicker. Less room for error. I mean, it's just a tough place to score. I mean, the good news is you're getting down there so you can even have a conversation about it. Some teams aren't getting to the red zone.
That's true.
That's one box that they don't have to worry about checking. They're moving the ball. I think they're averaging about 75, 80 snaps a game right now, which is insane.
A lot, yeah.
So they're moving the ball really well. They just got to finish off drives, and I think it will happen. I go back to their ability to have their starting offensive lineman in place so that they can actually run the ball. That takes a lot of stress off of Dak's shoulders to have to throw it. And that takes a lot of stress off McCarthy's shoulders in terms of having to come up with schemes that look different every single time to work against those particular defenses. Because, I mean, if any coordinator could do it, they would just line up and run the ball straight ahead.
Yeah. That's
the best thing to do in the red zone. And then, you have Dak Prescott that can play off of that.
I'm so glad that you mentioned the run game. Like, I will, and this, if there's one big positive I could really, and we mentioned before we were going off air, is Rico Dowdle. I thought, like, his ability, that especially in that one play where against Arizona, he had 7 Arizona Cardinals literally coming down like the Death Star, coming down to try and take him out, and somehow the broadcast team said it was like Houdini. He somehow got there and managed to get the first down. I was on my seat when I saw that, and I thought that could have created the spark for us to get everyone going, because you could tell from the sideline where like the Lamb stuff like that, their heads were down, the demeanor was off and stuff like that. You would think like a play like that would just like, okay, we can get back into this, but I think with that it just shows that Dowdle, and you said this during training camp, that Dowdle was worthy of the number 2 spot, and by my goodness, he is definitely deserved of that now for sure.
Yeah, some guys just need opportunities, man, and that's really what it comes down to for Rico Dowdle. I don't care what level of sports you're in. A lot of it comes down to not only your abilities, but do you have confidence? And opportunities present confidence, situations present confidence, coaches present confidence, systems do as well. And I think this is a perfect situation for him right now to really build his confidence. He hasn't been given those opportunities in the past. And now he's in a position where everybody's like, whoa, I didn't know he could do that. And it's like, yeah, well, he's been capable of doing it. They just hadn't put him in a position to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
So now he's being presented with those opportunities and he's making the best of them.
Absolutely.
Well, Isaiah, thank you. I know you got to run. You have a tight schedule. I know you said that, but we appreciate you jumping on with us again.
Of course, man. It's good to see you guys, man.
Always
great
to see you.
Look forward to that wide receiver stuff. We want to hear about that this week.
Check it out, man. Check it out.
Yeah. We're actually less than 8 weeks till we come over as well. So
nice.
Yeah, we're coming over to come and see you, and we're gonna bring breakfast rolls in for everybody.
Let's make it happen, Barry. Don't let me forget about that.
You got it. All right, thanks so much, Isaiah.
It's on.
Right.
It's on.
Bye, y'all.
Have a good one, Isaiah.
Take care.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there was other positives I could think about this game as well, and I was hoping that I could maybe squeeze in one more question with Isaiah about this one. Brandon Aubrey, the kicker.
Yeah, that's right.
He's
another bright spot.
He's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
he's made history. Yeah, he has been phenomenal for Dallas. So
it's crazy because when he missed that early on in the first game, everybody's like, "Oh, here we go."
Oh no!
And now he's just been like, "Okay, this is good."
But here's the thing, though, Barry. We can actually debunk that first kick because it wasn't our ball that he kicked.
Yeah.
It was actually the Giants' ball. I believe he
Yeah.
kicked, and also
he kicked with an offensive ball, not a kicker ball, not a K ball.
oh right, okay, so there's a big difference then, right? Okay, right, got it.
Well, they're harder, aren't they? You know that the throw-in balls, the kicking, the K balls are all, you know, they softened up. They're a little bit softer, a little bit, you know, they're a bit easier to kick.
Right. Okay. I didn't realize that was the case. I thought it was more to do with the fact that it was using the opposing side's ball or something like that. So, but I find the interesting thing is as well is like you could use an excuse for that first kick for Brennan Aubrey, but he did come off when he did not expect to come on so immediately.
Yeah, it was quick.
It was special teams touchdown. So for him, like it wasn't really properly warmed up, etc. Like. So
Head
there was
not in the right place.
Exactly. So you could probably say like it was a wee bit, oh crap, I'm now in the limelight here. And so, but ever since that first PAT, he's been phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Well,
awesome.
Here's another one, right? Here's what I like, is let me see a kicker. I like all kickers, no matter what, even the best, even, you know, Baltimore's kicker, Tucker, he's going to miss a kick eventually, right?
Yeah.
What makes a good, it's going to happen. Nobody is going to be perfect on the year.
Yeah,
right?
we need to have that expectation that Aubrey will likely miss a kick game, maybe maybe a couple of weeks down the line, maybe this weekend, who knows? But in terms of his actual kicking consistency, it's been very straight on. It's been very right between the goalposts.
Yeah. And you know what I like to see is right. So my kickers missed a kick. How do they mentally sort of readjust? How can they get back on the field and say to themselves, I've missed the kick? Because we've all seen it. We've seen kickers, even really good kickers, that they'll miss one, which leads to two, which leads to three, and it starts to snowball.
Mason Crosby is a great example.
There's so many. You can go through so many that it's happened to, that when they miss one, it just seems to happen. But what you've seen is you've seen Aubrey miss a kick, but then you've seen him from beyond that go perfect for the rest of the time. So you're seeing a positive response from a negative situation, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's overcoming that adversity from your first ever snap in the NFL, and to overcome that just shows that. And this was my biggest concern when it comes to the kickers: is do they have the mental capacity to deal with the pressure? The answer is yes.
Yeah, no, and that's a big point, because I think he's still so new in the NFL, so he's still probably riding those, you know, just this is the top, and so I'm sure he's still dealing with some of that, and he's handling it really well, I think.
I was going to throw a pun in there, Barry. I was just like, Brandon always certainly having a Cowboys experience right now.
Hey.
yeah, there you go.
Mike, is there anything else you want to discuss?
The only other one the one thing I want to discuss that people have been talking about, and I find it quite funny, and I don't get why people are based on 1 week. And I I'm not pointing fingers, and I know you've been involved in those conversations as well, Paul. Is Kyle Pitts? I'm going to say,
yeah.
There's who?
Kyle Pitts, the tight end for Atlanta.
I'm going to say a straight up no. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I know it's a lovely conversation to have. That it's the field of dreams.
It's not a field of dreams, because let's be honest here, right? We've got 4 draft picks next year, right?
Here we go. You're already hitting point number 1.
Right. Why would we trade away future picks for a guy that's not really done that much under the Atlanta Falcons? Don't get me wrong. It could be a system problem. Who knows? It may be better under the West Coast. Who knows? But we just drafted Schoonmaker. We've got Jake Ferguson, and we've got Hendershot. So why on earth do we need another tight end who does pretty much play as a wide receiver more than an actual tight end? I do not know.
You're hitting all the points I made.
We don't hit the panic button yet with these tight ends. I think I'm happy with them. I think
I'm happy with them as well. I think that this was just a sour grape of a game. It just didn't go well in all aspects, and it's just time for Dallas to get their big boy boots on and move forward and learn
look how
from
good
those
Ferguson's
mistakes.
moving after yards after the catch. I mean, he's tough to bring down sometimes. He's
Oh, yeah,
breaking
absolutely.
He's a
tackles.
big guy. He's a big
Yeah.
guy. He's very what's the word I'm looking for? Like he's
Durable.
not the most he's not the most athletic. Like I'm not saying he's Jason Witten, because Jason Witten was not an athletic guy. He could get himself open. What he reminds me of, Jake Ferguson, is a little bit more of a more physical Blake Jarwin. Less faster but more physical.
Yeah. That's probably a good comparison that way.
But like, the bit that also makes me laugh, another point, is people are going, oh, look at the red zone. We need to go get a Kyle Pitts, a target. And you're like, well, hold on. It's been 1 week removed. 1 week. One sole week. 7 days where the Cowboys scored 2 receiving touchdowns against the Jets. Both of them were to tight ends. What are we doing here? What are people saying? We need Kyle Pitts. Okay, well, none of our wide receivers have scored a touchdown, but 2 of our 3 tight ends have, both in 1 week. And that was 1 week ago. Why are we worrying about the time? What the issue is on third down, I know, Isaiah said there's a schematic thing, but to me, what's missing is we need one of those wide receivers, whoever it is that it's missing whatever it is it wants to do at the wide receiver position. That for whatever reason, the wide receivers aren't getting targeted, and it's a coaching choice.
No,
within the red zone.
They are getting targets. CeeDee Lamb's had 19 targets so far. It's just
No.
unfortunate.
I mean in the red zone.
And red zone. Oh, right.
Yeah,
of course, right. I think that they are being targeted, but I think it kind of just goes back to what Isaiah was saying. It's like it's okay when you've got a big, massive open field, you can actually create the better separation. But when you condense that space
You've got to be
more
faster.
and more within 20 yards, that's when more likely errors are going to occur. You need to be very sure that you're able to execute that in a smaller space of window. So I think that's going to be a big primary focus in a lot of practices is red zone offense for the wide receivers to help get
this week.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, because but like I kind of mentioned with Christian Christian Barmore, sorry.
Barmore being out is big.
Yeah, he's questionable. He might be out, he might be playing, but is he going to be 100%? We don't know. But do I feel confident knowing that it's likely going to be Hoffman and Bass again in the middle with Tyler Smith? I'd be okay with it. I'm being honest with you, Mike. I'm being okay with it. I think after considering how they played last week, but Barmore is a different animal compared to what the front. Yeah. So it's also a litmus test for the O-line for these backups. It's literally going into the fire, really. So,
I mean, like I'm on the other side. See, I'm not a fan of Hoffman.
You've never been I don't understand why though.
Because he like even in preseason you've seen it and you've seen it last week, right? So there was a lot of running the ball when the Cowboys needed to throw the ball. They needed to be a little bit faster. They needed to get passing, and you saw, early in the game there was the delay of game. There was some holding penalties, some pre-snap penalties, like 8 penalties on the offensive line in the first half, right? Obviously, it got better in the second half.
But not all of them were Hoffman, though.
No. Across the line. Hoffman was one of them. And the delay game was as well. But all of what the Cowboys were doing last week against the Cardinals was because Dak and Mike McCarthy knew that the offensive line, because of those 3 rookies that had gone in, needed more time to get set. to figure out their protections and to know what was happening on the field. That's why things were going so slow. Like, look at our time of possession. Our time of possession last week was through the
34
roof.
minutes. It was 34 minutes compared to the 20. Was it 21 minutes?
It was insane, right?
Yeah, we had at least 13 minutes more possession than Arizona.
It was wild, right? And you think like a lot of the reasons for the time of possession and why it was going so slow was because they just needed those guys to take the time. With Zach and Tyron in there and Biadish, it's sharper, it's snappier. You know, you need to go up tempo, you need to go faster, you need to get to the passing game quicker. Those are your guys. Everything slows down when you've got rookie, and especially 3, and especially 5 guys that have never played together. Everything slows down.
But you could be right there, Mike, because they brought in another center today. So you know,
Yeah.
they might be agreeing with you also.
Well, I mean, I think that is
they watch
more,
some film.
yeah, I think that one is more down to they're out. You can no longer elevate Hoffman anymore, right? So he's got to go on the 53-man roster, and there's no room. So I think what's going to happen is they brought in Price, who's going to replace Hoffman on the practice squad, and Hoffman's done. The only way to do it is to drop someone off the 53.
That's true. That's fair. I'm trying to find what else there is, actually. I can read out the team stats right now. So currently just now in terms of yards passing, Dallas is 300. No, sorry, 300. No, wait. 215 yards passing. No, that can't be right.
Per game.
Yards passing, total yards.
What week are you on?
I cannot read this diagram properly from ESPN right now. My goodness, you know what? I'm going to scrap it because I'm going to.
Dak's on 647 yards passing with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah. I wrote that. It's more to do with the actual team stats.
Stats on offense. They throw in 213 yards per game, 207 passing yards per game, and 147 yards rushing per game. They're 4th in scoring with 29 points per game, where the New England Patriots are 3rd worst. There's your big one. Well, okay, right. Well, let me do this then, because we're not going to speak to Barry before the game. We might. Usually I give Barry a little ring on the Friday. What do you think the final score is going to be, Barry?
I was just going to say, let's get to some predictions. I guess we can do that, and then we can talk about you guys coming for Thanksgiving and things like that. So
yeah. Do I do a special prediction as well? What type of highlight we're going to see from the game as well? Because we've been started doing that as well on the World's team. Is like what our score prediction is going to be, and what is the special prediction going to be like? Is it going to be like 2 touchdowns from Pollard, or is it going to be 3 sacks from Micah, all those type of things? So but
I can't remember what I did with you when I was with you. I can't remember.
I never can.
I think it was a Malik Hooker pick 6. I think I said something like that.
Something like that, I think. Yeah. But in terms of the score.
Okay, I'll say 27-16 Dallas.
26. Sorry, say it again, buddy.
27-16.
27-16. Okay, I'm gonna keep this a really closely tight one. I'm gonna say 24-21 Cowboys.
Ooh, I had the Cowboys scoring 24, but I've got the Patriots scoring 17. So it's within a touchdown.
Okay, and we're actually getting some of the predictions on the chat as well. So we've got Joe, our good friend from Italy.
Joe's expecting another 40 banger. Look at that.
Yep. So he's going for Dallas 40, New England
rebound.
14.
Cowboys rebound for blowout. Good job, Joe. Hopefully that's the one.
And I believe it's almost 2 a.m. in Italy, Joe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Is Joe coming over for Thanksgiving?
No,
I don't think so. Mm-hmm. And we've got Patty going for 21-7.
Patty,
Dallas.
The Florida kid, she's back in PA now, so she's a lifetime Cowboy fan and used to help put our stuff together as well. So
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Okay, Barry, what would your special prediction be?
special production. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna lean because here's I'm gonna go on because of the lineup. I'm gonna say I'm gonna do a triple. I'm gonna do like a triple crown here. I'm gonna do
go on.
a touchdown for Hendershot, a touchdown for Ferguson, and I'm gonna say a sack, at least one sack by Sam Williams.
Oh, there we go.
He's gonna have his coming out game this week. And so I'll come back to mine after you guys do yours, and I'll tell you why I said that.
My special prediction is going to be a bit of a weird one. LVE strip sack.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could say that. I see when you say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm just looking how with their interior, with him running down as the middle linebacker running down in the middle, I think he could probably
You like
get to Mac Jones. And Mac Jones is not really the most mobile quarterback.
Right.
So we know that. So he's going to be very stationary. We know this game is basically ready for likes of D-Law and DeMarcus, D-Law, Parsons, etc. But I think the interesting part is going to be in the middle of their offensive line. So that's what I'm going to say. Because with likes of Hankins, they're going to get double teamed, etc. It's just going to open the door for one of our linebackers, and I'm saying LVE is going to get to Daniel Jones, sack him down, and strip the ball off him.
Okay.
Okay.
Like-
Here's my one. Are you ready? Noah Igbine scores another touchdown off a blocked field goal.
Right, I would love to know what the odds of that would
Yeah.
be.
and a block from Wanye Thomas.
Yeah. Exact carbon copy. No,
wow.
imagine that. Imagine that comes in now. My
Maybe
Twitter would explode.
I would even put a dollar bet. Ask William Hill to put the odds on that.
On that,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
You'd probably
that'd
be
be-
inactive.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But we've actually got a good one from Joe, to be fair. He's I see Dak finally getting his receivers involved and get 4 touchdowns. There
Nice.
we go. There
Yeah.
we go. That's the type of stuff we're looking for. All right. Barry, the floor is yours.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the reason I said that is those 3 guys will be at our event this Saturday. So you want to come out and meet Sam Williams, Jake Ferguson, and Peyton Hendershot, 2 to 4 p.m. at the Toyota Music Factory Complex. Our official food provider, Pacheco's Taco Bar, put out some great tasty treats. Yep, there you go. Last week, and actually even the players all took a plate. They loved it. And Alcedilla Tequila, and we'll come out with some margarita specials. And our friends over at Hop and Sting, John and the team over there will be serving aluminum cowboy and their Texas beer. So some cool, almost like the silver bullet, but it's aluminum cowboy bullet. And drink responsibly, of course, but they'll be our official food and beverage providers. 2 to 4 p.m. Meet those 3 guys, of course. It'll be awesome. Kenny the Shark Gant will be out there doing his Shark Dance contest. We'll have a couple other treats and surprises, as always. But that's why I picked those. The triplets. They're going to do have a great game on Sunday as well.
I can't wait to meet Kenny. I've missed him so much.
Well, let's
we
throw
haven't
it out there
spoken to him in a
too.
while.
Let's promote and start getting an early getting everybody's head too on that Friday after Thanksgiving. We're going to have our big event on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and then we're going to the day after Thanksgiving. We're going to end up at our the guys over at Hop and Sting, and we'll have our little get together with some players to be announced. So we might have some neat stuff for that as well, and we may even have a big name or two. So.
Ooh.
Oh, don't tease me, Barry. Seriously.
You know me. When you come to town, we always gotta make it special. So
Yeah.
But
now
yeah,
you're bringing your sidekick with you there.
well, question is, who's the sidekick?
Yeah.
That's the question. Who's the secret, me or Mike?
Does Mike? Do you have a kilt? You might, if you're going to hang around
Oh,
with
no, he
boys,
doesn't.
No. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
I'll be dressed up. Don't you worry. But
Yeah,
not
so
not in a kilt.
me and Lauren will have our kilts. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
fine.
Lauren, get okay.
Yes, I don't know what Jamie's doing. I think he's going to go all Peaky Blinders or all of a sudden. I don't
We
know.
did.
But
We have been trying to get him to dress up as Austin Powers.
yeah, yeah, but
I don't think he's up for that.
I don't think he's up for it. But
Yeah. All right, awesome. Well, thanks again so much, guys, and appreciate you as always. And it won't be long now. We'll be seeing you soon. But Cowboys get back on track this week,
They will.
and we'll see how these results and see our predictions come true next week. So, we'll run another one too. Maybe gets the score. The 2 weeks now we ran it. Nobody even came close. Nobody picked the Cardinals, of course.
Yeah.
That first game against the Giants, it's like, whoa, So maybe we'll run another one and see how we do.
that's the thing. If you're playing a last man standing game and you all pick Dallas, then you're automatically eliminated in that one.
Yeah.
Well, I think they said Vegas with the survivors in Vegas. I think it went down 63% or something like that. Or the survivor is already gone.
Wow.
Just from those 3 games. I think Dallas. Who was the other big upset?
Denver, I think, as well.
Yeah, Denver, I think.
Denver was a big
but
one.
Miami, man, Miami's that Christmas game, Miami, Dallas. Everybody wants to keep that in mind too. Come to the beach, hang out with us there at in Miami for Christmas. Come, put your feet in the sand for Christmas and come to the Cowboys Miami game. We're gonna be doing that game, so
nice.
Come hit the beach with the boys.
Oh, but talking of percentages, I got a crazy fact for you from last week's game, and then I'll let you guys do whatever you're gonna do. But on the final drive when Dak threw the interception, the Cowboys were predicted to win that game by 81%. After he threw the interception, it was down to 1.
Wow. Can you imagine putting a live bet? Like, do you imagine before that live bet, and you had the odds of cashing out before the bet?
Yeah.
And you cashed out right before the interception, you would have been up in a profit there. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Wild.
But Barry, do you want us to run the commercial before we go?
Yeah. Okay. Super. Well, and with that, thanks again, y'all. Go Cowboys. Thanks for hanging out with us, Cowboy Nation. Thank you, as always, for your support, and thank you guys so much. Appreciate you, as always.